Losez les bons temps rouler. Let the good times roll here on New Day as we celebrate Mardi Gras, or Fat Tuesday. It's a tradition that began hundreds of years ago where people indulge before the period of Lent, which in the Christian church is a time of sacrifice and abstinence. The holiday is bursting with traditions, and we know a guy who is very familiar with this holiday. Evening's Saint Bryan joins us now to talk about his time in the Big Easy. Thank you for being here.
I'm happy to. I'm also going to be cooking something for us. But first, let's talk about, New Orleans. I went to school at Tulane University and learned a lot about that city. You know, I moved there. I didn't know anything about New Orleans, which is like an island in the state of Louisiana, which is like an island in the rest of the country. There I am.
I love it. Oh, my gosh. There is your student ID. This is amazing.
Yeah, I had long hair then, too.
Wow, I'm seeing a whole new side of Saint. So did you really let the good times roll?
I absolutely did, yeah. And you know, on Mardi Gras itself, it is sort of like the payoff to a carnival season, which is going on for weeks and weeks, to the point where people who have lived in New Orleans for a long time just want to know where the parades are going to be so they can avoid them.
Right.
But this is the big day.
Because there are multiple parades, right? There are so many fun things to do. It's not just one big Mardi Gras parade. It's for hours and hours of entertainment.
Throughout the city for weeks and weeks. And in fact, you know, this is the big day for the parade, and if you haven't got enough beads, if you haven't got enough bling, there's a trucks parade that ends it all. And these are giant trucks, and people are just shoveling this stuff out to you.
I love
so you have big bags, and in the moment, it's all very exciting. And then you get back to your dorm room, and it's like, what am I going to do with this?
What am I going to do with all this?
Why did I gather all this?
Well, we got a couple of traditions, of course, to make you feel at home in your college days. First, we've got some chicory coffee from Café du Monde.
Oh, very nice.
Which I don't believe I've ever had. I've had their beignets before, but
They go together. I know you're having beignets a little bit later in the show. It's a little spicy. Very good, though.
This is quite the coffee.
And you can
gosh.
find Café du Monde all over the place. International grocery stores especially have that.
I love it. Also, we have a king cake here. Now, this is a rich tradition that you said you're surprised it's made its way across the country.
I had no idea. When I was working at the college radio station, somebody brought a king cake, and we all gobbled it up quickly, and she was from New Orleans, so she told us, you know, you got to be a little more careful because somewhere in that cake there is baked a tiny little plastic baby, and if you get the plastic baby, that means it's your turn to buy the cake the next time around. And although people in New Orleans are often drinking a lot, they have a very good memory when it comes to who bought the king cake.
Well, neither of us got the baby, which would signify luck and such, but I think we're pretty lucky here because we're already eating dessert on New Day. Cheers to Mardi Gras. Now let's get to your goulash. This is a family recipe that Saint has agreed to make for us, so I'm excited. Let's go.
Yeah, you know, I could have made red beans and rice, but that would take a couple of hours. We could have done a crawfish boil, but it would have stunk up the studio and the studio next door and probably the entire building. So this is a comfort meal food that we're doing here. It's simple, very simple.
Now goulash.
So simple that I can do it.
Okay, but like goulash is a term that doesn't sound good, but this is one of your favorite meals.
It's a comfort food for us at our house. It's the one meal everybody in our family will actually eat.
Wow, that's saying something.
It does say something in our family. So we've already browned up about a pound and a quarter of ground beef, and now we're going to toss in the onions.
And you said you want the meat to be relatively lean if you're not going to drain it, right?
Because I'm not draining this, no.
Okay.
This is all about, you know, make it simple.
Yes.
You don't. It's me, right? I'm the one that's cooking. It's got to be simple. You know what you could start doing, though, is chopping those tomatoes.
Okay.
We want to get those nice and small.
I got to be honest, because I hate tomatoes, like with a red-hot passion. So I don't really know how to cut the tomato. Do you have any tips? Like, you want me to cut it into little chunks or what?
I think, we're going to get rid of that. We're going to, hold on, let me try it.
I'm already doing it wrong. It's okay. All right.
No.
Oh my gosh, I would have been so impressed.
I know, I just wanted to do that on television just once.
We need a better knife for this. Okay.
So while you're cutting that down, what else can I tell you about? Oh, you know, I did grow up where my stepmother, who was Swiss, worked with a very well-known chef in the next town over. She helped him while he was writing a book. That chef is Jacques Pepin, the famous French chef. And he would cook us meals, and we would go over to his house.
Should I put these in, by the way, as you're talking?
Smaller, though.
Smaller? Oh, my God. The smell.
Keep going, Amity, while I talk and address the audience. So we'd go over to his house, but I'm like 12 and 13 years old, so I'm not really interested in haute cuisine. I like the grilled cheese at Friendly's. I like the clam bake stuff at Howard Johnson's. So I'd eat some of what he cooked, and then I'd move the rest of it around the plate.
Aww.
And then my dad, knowing his place, he'd be the guy that would clean up all the pots. And then while he was doing that, somebody would put Saturday Night Fever on the record player. I think we're ready to do that.
Obviously.
Oh, you know what we haven't done?
What?
I almost forgot. The Johnny Seasoning.
Oh, what's Johnny Seasoning?
Johnny Seasoning, based in Fife, I believe, but possibly Tacoma. This is going to add, this is very important because this is the paprika, the garlic, all of that we're just going to do right here.
Just you're going to eyeball it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No, we're keeping things simple.
All right.
But anyways, I just wanted to add one more thing. That everybody is dancing to Saturday Night Fever. We're 12 and 13. We are so embarrassed that we want to leave the house, but it might be raining outside, so we're just sort of sitting there watching, just getting embarrassed to death.
By your parents dancing to Saturday Night Fever.
And the great chef, Jacques Pepin.
And the great chef.
Okay, so this is, we're only going to warm up the tomatoes, basically.
Okay, so they're going to be slightly cooked.
So so we're not going to be doing this for too long, and then we're going to add the noodles.
We have only about a minute left, so we're going to just speed things up a little bit. When do you add all that delicious cheese?
Cheese comes after we add it to the noodles. So
we add noodles too? Oh, you already pre-cooked the noodles. So let me grab those.
Bring over the noodles.
See, I didn't know about the noodles.
Yeah.
But that makes sense. Can I pour them? Ready? What do you think?
I usually put that on top of the noodles.
Oh, sorry, just kidding. See, this is your recipe. Don't let me take over.
Okay.
All right.
Here we go. We're just gonna dump it in. Do we have a good tight shot of this? Yes. Here we go. Watch as this delicious, isn't it?
It's beautiful.
Okay. We mix this in just a little bit. It's nice and hot, so now we're going to add the cheese. We've got two different kinds of cheese here. We've got medium cheddar and aged white cheese.
So you don't have to mix it in all the way. You can kind of leave it on the top a little bit, or do you typically want to mix it in all the way?
Eventually, you're going to mix it in all the way. But I want to get that cheese in there because we want the cheese to melt.
Got it.
And then it's not, we're almost done here.
What kind of noodle is that, by the way?
These are not the noodles that I wanted us to get.
Wow, throwing the producer under the bus.
These are elbow macaroni.
What would your ideal noodle be?
They'd be a little bit smaller. This is a little big for me.
Okay. All right, well, thank you so much, Saint. I like how easy and simple this is. He's sitting it out. We're going to chow down on this. And he's, by the way, sharing this recipe for his famous family goulash. I mean, I think that is the recipe right there.
It's just comfort food, it's so simple.
We're going to have it on our website for you to try.